Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Coloring Oasis. I have a huge pile of Etsy printables to show you. Many that I purchased in the last 2 months to do in the springtime. Some are from my Patreons and some were random finds that were recommended by the Facebook group Color It In. And I've printed them all on different papers and I'll show them to you, and then I'll show you the papers I use. And I do have them categorized by artist, so I'm happy to show those to you today. I'm not going to link all these below because it would take me forever because there are too many, but you can generally search on Etsy by the name of the artist under their store and likely find it fairly easily. So first I have two by Tyson Art. Tyson Art also has multiple coloring books that are sort of those vintage, retro, nostalgic style. And I actually have one. I just realized right over here. So here's an example of one. This is Tyson's Time of Wonders. So you can get the coloring books on Amazon, which I do like the books better, but I did this one in some pastel pencils I hadn't finished yet. But this one, these were some newer ones that I didn't have, and so I wanted to pick those up. But I love Tyson's books. They're so cute, very affordable. But if you want to just try it out, and I'll link all of the books I show you below, but otherwise, if you want to look for the printables, you can do that yourself. So under Tyson's shop. So these I thought would be great for spring. This one I did on a bigger paper. And I will discuss papers with you at the end and link my papers below to show you. All right, so these are by Nadia Z Design. You might have seen these kind of medieval, vintage, Victorian, just like, this one reminds me of Outlander for some reason, the Scottish Edinburgh scenes, but Nadia has some very interesting like fantasy and historical time period ones on here. And again, I used two different papers. You can see the size differences as well. So absolutely love these. Very excited to do these. And I do printables and books because I can use the higher quality paper on my printables. I don't do them as often as I do books because I want to see eventually over the years completed books, and books will hold up better. But I do like to do these images you can't get anywhere else sometimes. All right, so next I have some from Hannah Lynn's Patreon that I have not done yet. You've probably seen some of my winter ones and what I colored in December, January video that I did complete with all the frost and snow and glitter. But here we have, this is like the Rainbow Sisters, the Wind Sisters. Is the current theme, I think, for February or March. And then we have this one I never did. This one was from February. So I have not done these three. And again, different papers. This one is a bright white. This one is more of a milk white. And again, I'll discuss that at the end. So if you're not a member of the Patreon, there's different, I don't know, there's different levels, gold, bronze, yada, yada. I think I pay $9.99 a month, maybe to get 2 pictures a month on the 1st and 15th. But you can also do for $4.99 a month the 1 picture or the non-grayscale. I don't remember the specifics, but it's very reasonable. This is Mariella Budek on Etsy. Love Mariela's things. I've done a lot of her, I assume it's her pictures you've seen in my what to color videos. Ironically, this was an accident. I ran out of black ink. I didn't know it, and I printed this. It started in black, and then it turned to the sepia because it moved over to my color ink cartridge, and I thought, that's interesting. Maybe I should just try to color it over this kind of reddish undertone sepia and see what it does to the overall picture. You know, I've never tried that before, so I'm going to actually color it like it is. So I'll use like earth tones that'll go over that nicely, and this will give a nice pink undertone of her skin, and I will just kind of see what happens because this was on my really more expensive paper and I don't want to waste it. Plus, I like to experiment. Also, there is this one. This one is newer. This woodland fairy with the little bunny and the snails and everything. which is really cute. This one is fairly one of the newest ones, I think. And then there's this one. Mariella Budek's Etsy shop has gorgeous portraits with beautiful hair, all kinds of hair. And I just love to do hair because you can use your alcohol markers, 3 or 4 shades, blend, and in these grayscales, it's just so much fun. It's meant for a little bit of a bigger paper, but you can still print it on this. I just cut off that little bit of hair at the bottom, and I'm fine with that. You know, who's going to really notice anyway? So yeah, that is Mariela Budek's Etsy shop. Let's check that out. Next, we have one you may have heard of. It is Rina Art. And Rina also has a Patreon, which I'm a member of. Some of these are from the Patreon. Some might be from the Etsy shop. I think lately all the Patreons have been this ocean theme with the corals. There are some other ocean theme ones you can get on the Etsy shop. So yeah, I haven't done any of these because they look very intricate. Also, RinaArt has a lot of really attractive portraits. So I love this one with that's going to be the African skin tone to use my Copics dark skin tones with. So I'm excited to do that. And this looks so real that you want a very light either pencil or alcohol marker, so all these shadows shows through. So I'm going to probably do a mid-tone brown, I think, for this skin. And here we have another one, very 30s style maybe. I love the hair and the grayscale flowers. These are all ones for spring I was thinking of doing. This one also was more of a winter princess. You see little icicles, crystals in her crown and everything. Pearls in the hair. This one will take a lot of work. This one I did on the longer paper. So you can compare, you can see the difference here. Then we have this one, which is the knit rope or yarn heart, which was an interesting concept. So this will be fun to do with multiple alcohol markers of dark to light shades. So I'm excited about that. Maybe giant red to pink, or red to coral, maybe heart. Maybe, I almost thought of doing blues, but I can't decide. So that is Rina Art, or yeah, Rina. I think it might show up under Coloring Books 2020 if you search for the Etsy shop, which is also Rina Art on Patreon. I'm pretty sure. So check, if you have trouble finding it, search for that. Next we have Christina Caron. I'm sure you've heard of Christine Caron because everybody knows her. She has the cutest stuff and I love it. I love it. She has multiple books, which I have. Some of these are from her Patreon. I also am a member of, I have not done yet. This was the winter bobsled. I'm a little intimidated because the trees are so faint. The tree lines here and all the snow, and snow is hard. It's just hard. And I've had this for 2 months now. I've been putting it off, but I do want to do it. So I'm going to get to it. This was a newer one uploaded in her Etsy shop with the little deer. Oh no, wait a minute. Was this? No, this was the new, oh, this might've been the new Patreon from March, I think. Probably. Yes. Pretty sure. Anyway, the little Bambi in the spring look. So I think that's what that was. When you join Patreon, you can only start getting images from the month you join. You can't backtrack and get all the previous ones. But Christine Caron does sell 5 packs of previous Patreon images in her Etsy shop once you can no longer get them on Patreon, which is what some of these were for that I went back and bought because I only joined like a month or 2 ago. So I love this one with the umbrella made out of leaves. Yeah, I think these were from her previous Patreon 5 packs. I just love them so much. It's kind of English countryside, country house, flower girl. These are all in Etsy. I love this one. This is more autumn and fall with the owl and the orangish leaves, the elf boots, picking mushrooms. So I might save this one for fall, or I might just do it because I like it a lot. This one is Scent of Spring, a newer one on the Etsy shop. And we have this one, Dear Diary, where she's writing in the diary. I did a tutorial on a Christina Caron page that I think was a free page on her website, if it's still there. And it's the Coloring Girl, colorist. She had coloring books and crayons. And I demoed my Crayola signature adult pencil line on it, and they're like buttery smooth, and it was so beautiful on that picture because of the light grayscale and the paper I used. If I can find that was an older video. I'll see if I can link that below. And I really recommend, by the way, those Crayola adult artist signature pencils. It's just a tin. They're fairly inexpensive, not like the cheap yellow Crayola stuff, but they were on par, no joke, with the Prismacolor, like, and way cheaper. And I almost, in some pages, I've actually liked them better. This is Miss Sweet Maple, an older gal with the chunky pearls. I can see this with some gray and black peppered hair. Here we have a leprechaun, perfect for April. This one might have been, yeah, Patreon pack. This was definitely Patreon pack. Mother's Love, maybe an old Mother's Day one. Isn't that cute? Oh, they're always like little elves and fairies and things like that. Love, love, love it. All right, next I have my absolute favorite, which is Lana Green. You see in all my what I colored in the previous month videos, always something by Lana Green. She has the most beautiful portraits, pictures. They have kind of a nostalgic feel. They're just pretty, and they're unique, and everyone's different. This one I did on one of the particular papers I will show you and talk about, my bright white glossy. This is a new one, I believe. If you go to Lana Green's website, she has 5 or 6 free download pictures. This was one of them. Got this one here, just for the hair and the roses. This one is new. It was called Bluebird on Etsy. This is a different paper. This one was last month, I think, an early spring one. I printed this on a smaller paper than I should have because the original image should show a little bit more of her dress. That doesn't really matter, but it's fine. Love this one. Lots of pretty girls, flowers, birds and butterflies. This one's called Innocence, I think, from Etsy. Absolutely in love with this one. Can't wait to do this for spring this month. All these flowers. Really excited. I think I'm going to use all my Copic Chows on this one, except for the skin. More Lana Green. This one almost has like an Asian feel to it. All these gorgeous flowers. Imagine this with really pretty black hair with some purple highlights or something like that. These two are a little older. I printed quite a while ago. I haven't done yet. It's the Strawberry Cake Girl. This might have been from last summer. I've been meaning to do. And then the sweets. All the sweets. Yum, yum, yum. This is kind of like a manga look to it, I think. Yeah, so that's Lana Green. Lana Green, she has at least 6 pages of pictures in her Etsy shop. So give one of those a try. So then I have another favorite. This is very different. It's LuArtDream in the Etsy shop. LuArtDream. And you might have seen it when I colored in December, January. I did the winter walks picture. She has a series of 4 or 5 pictures of winter walks of gals out in the snow in different cities doing walks. And I did 1 or 2 of those and I showed it to you. All of LuArtDream's pictures on Etsy are this kind of pencil sketch look, even in the skin, which is different. I mean, it bugged me at first when I did my skin with the Copics and doing the darker over the pencil. And you don't totally cover it, but that's part of the look. It's like if you were to put your photo in a photo filter on your iPhone and change it to look like pencil drawing, it gives you those lines. That's kind of how it's meant to look. Kind of like Clara Markova, is that who I'm thinking of? I think, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, lots of great nature ones here. This one's called Rowan. See all this pencil sketch on the cheek. but great to do hair and leaves. I printed this crooked, but I think it'll be fine. I'll just cut that off on the bottom. I hate wasting expensive paper. This one as well. If you haven't done a lot of portraits, these Etsy printables are a great way to practice, because if you mess up, you don't ruin your coloring book. You can just print another one or just toss it. And I do all my skin tones with my certain mixtures of my Copic sketch markers, which you can buy individually on Amazon. I have a few tutorials on there, but I can do a few more with different colors to show you if you're interested in getting started. This one I love is called the Amazon Water Lily. Here's one of the winter walks I have not done yet. I'm trying to do all the series. This looks like a New England town or village. The one I did looked more like it was done in Germany or Rothenburg or something like that, or Cologne. And I had a lot of fun doing that other one. So this one is from her Patreon. There's a LuArtDream Patreon. You only get one picture a month. I intentionally printed this on the lighter. You get light, dark, and medium. And I usually do dark. You also get like a sepia and a blue tone. So I'm going to try the light on this one, which will be kind of experimental. I usually like the darker lines, so we'll see. And then I printed one in this blue tone. And the last few months, LuArtDream on the Patreon has done this vintage Venice Carnival. Several pictures from that line. And there's one you can get on Etsy, but I think it's meant to encourage you to go join the Patreon and get the rest of them. And I'll show you that one. But this one is from the Patreon. This one is from the Patreon. This one I printed in sepia, which is another, these are all experimental. So I want to try like the different backgrounds. And yeah, you get to print them when you get the PDF on Patreon. There's blue and sepia and light and dark. So you can print it however you want. And then this is the one you can get on Etsy, I believe. This close up, it's all still with the pencil sketch, and I printed this one on a bigger paper as well. So it'll be interesting to see if there are going to be any more of those. I hope there are. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some of those. Obviously, it's going to take me months to do all these. This is my pile of completely random pictures that I just like online Etsy shops that I've never bought from before, where I just gave it a shot. I had to have this one with the Beauty and the Beast with the grayscale. This one is Davidson Art Coloring, and I just released my What I Colored in February video. There was a completed picture I did from Davidson Art Coloring, which you can go check out that video if you haven't seen it. I'll link it below. Show you all the stuff I colored, but a lot of random stuff, but good pictures, and I'm really thrilled to do this one with, of course, the yellow dress. This one is, I believe, by Botanical Nook. Botanical Nook is the shop, and you buy like a pack. It's like $3.99 for like 15, 20 images of little Sprite Fairy girls. This is the one from that pack I printed. So check out that shop. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I mean, ironically, I probably will only ever color 2 or maybe 3 out of that whole pack, but you know, you can't get one without buying the pack. So this one is by Art of Layla. Alexa, cancel. Art of Layla, L-E-L-A. And there's a lot of portraits. Very Lana. Alexa. Alexa, stop talking. Alexa, cancel. Oh, she's not listening to me, my robot friend. Sorry. Delete, rewind. Anyway, lots of Lana Green style. Not quite as advanced, but some really nice botanicals in there. And that was Art of Layla on Etsy. This one I love. This was by AiohMy. A-I-O-H-M-Y. AiohMy. And there were these look almost more like vintage rubber stamps or illustrations, one of a kind or something that you can print as coloring pages, or you can use them small for clip art, which is something different I don't normally buy, and I printed it crooked, but well, but that's what this is. But I loved the baby Bambi here and the flower, so I wanted to give that a shot. And we have here Nino Kurts Art, N-I-N-O-K-U-R-T-S Art. I have purchased from Nino Kurts Art before and colored a few pages. Ideally, you want to print these on the longer A4 paper because it does cut off the braids at the end, but I usually just fill that in with my markers, so you don't need to do that. But more pretty flower girls. This one is from the Sketch Forest, and I really like the Sketch Forest. There's really some interesting pictures I haven't seen elsewhere, some really nice like faces and like botanicals and nature in there. And I don't know why my borders aren't straight. Like something's going on with my printer. I'm printing crooked, so I usually will just cut it with my scissors. So I really like this one. This one is by Zindy Nielson, Zindy Nielson. This just popped up as a recommendation. I loved it. It reminds me of Elena Lazareva or Grazia Salvo's pictures a little. It says Zindy Nielson. So I don't remember if that was the name of the Etsy shop, but that's what's on the picture. But beautiful grayscale, a lot of black. Imagine the bright popping like orange you could do of that leopard. Orange and tan. Maybe give her red hair. That would look really nice together. Lastly, I have one. Oh, this was also by Mariela Budeek. I guess that got out of my other pile. I wasn't sure I was going to keep this because, again, this is another one where my black ink was running out and it resorted to the color. So it started with the black and the gray and then it turned into this orange sepia the rest of the way down. And I'm thinking I can probably salvage it. I can probably still color it because it'll be interesting to see how the color, if I use markers, changes going over the sepia versus the gray in the same like area. So this is going to be like an experimental page. I am going to color over it and I'm going to see how it changes the look of the alcohol marker when you do all this hair in this orangey pink sepia and then over the black. So there's a little line streaking right through here, but I'm from the printer where it was getting dry, but I think that'll cover up just fine with the color. So yeah, I'm going to go for it and just see what happens. So that is the extent of my printables. Let me show you these papers I'm using and give you my paper recommendations. And this is the same paper you see me do all of my Etsy printables on that I always show you in my what I colored videos. Okay, so first I have here, these are my, for example, my two Hannah Lynn's from the Patreons. You can see they print perfectly. Here I also have that one. Yeah, here. So you can see it prints just fine. This is what I talk about all the time in my videos, my standard Etsy printable cardstock multi-medium paper, which is this. It is my Nina paper. So it's Nina cardstock. I get it on Amazon. I'll link it below. Huge ream, 300 of them, 110 pound, 8.5 by 11, 94 white. And it works. It's laser inkjet copier paper. Look how much you get. This is like my second one I've had in 2 years. Like it lasts forever. But all the printables, most of the printables I show you are done on this. These are all done on that. And I have an HP inkjet printer, several years old, inexpensive one. My ink, because I use mostly alcohol markers, felt tip pens, pencils, sometimes Tombow, Pro or Tombow water-based. The Pros are alcohol-based, but mostly I use alcohol, and it never brings up ink on this paper. You want let your printables dry for a day or two before you color on them. Like I wouldn't print and then start right away. I'd print them, I let them sit sometimes for days or weeks before I color them. Make sure your ink is fully dry. So you don't want your printed ink to smear. But this really works for everything. It works great for the Prismacolors, the wax baked pencils, any wax baked pencils, and polychromos, oil-based pencils. You know, I mean, really, it's like your best basic paper, and it's the most affordable, and it's pretty thick. See that? Like, so most of the printables I've shown you, I've done on this paper. So then I have, and I'm going to compare for you my, let's see, my Express blending card. So, for example, let's compare these side by side. So, same size. This was a different one, but you see how much more white, like snow white. This one is on the left. like blinding white versus this is like a milk white. This one is shiny. It's got like a sheen, like a gloss almost to it. And it is not good for pencils, but it's brilliant 100% for all kinds of markers. And that is this, the Express It blending card, specially selected for use with alcohol markers. So, and I love alcohol markers. Acid-free, archival, ultra smooth, bright white, laser inkjet compatible, perfect for marker blending. It was sold on Amazon for a while because I was recommending it a lot. They might have some secondhand sellers. I'll link it below. You can keep an eye when it comes back. It might already be back now, but I'm going to link all these below. But, and if I can't, if it's still out of stock, it's been like a month, I might find an alternative that's very similar to recommend, because I do love my bright, shiny white blending card. And it just, almost like when you do the alcohol marker on it, it goes squeak. It's like squeak, 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 squeak. It's squeaky because it's shiny, you know. All right, so that is that. Then I have here my, is that the right one? Yeah, so next I have my Copic marker paper, Copic paper selections. This is thick marker paper, acid free. You only get 20 sheets. This is definitely more expensive, and they're A4, so they're longer. So remember, I printed this longer one here. So if I compare between my standard, I mean, these two are the same size, 8.5 by 11, but you can see it's definitely going to, let me line them up at the top here. You see, it's definitely like if you lined it up like this, this is how much extra space you have. So some of the printables, such as for LuArtDream, when you buy on Etsy, it'll say print in it'll say PDF or JPEG, A4 or A3. A4 is the little bit longer image, so you can still print them on the regular 8.5 by 11 paper, but you have to sometimes adjust your settings on your printer to shrink to fit, so it brings everything in. Or it depends on if you're printing. Sometimes it's easier to print PDF versus JPEG or vice versa, but you will, for images that are a little longer, meant to do on this A4 paper, this Copic marker paper is great as well. I think I have another one here. Yes, I did the Nadia Z Design one on this paper. So you can see how long, it's a lot longer if you put it next to, because Nadia Z Design's pages are mostly the A4. Now, it does give you an option, like I said, print on A3 or 8.5 by 11. And what it really does is it just cuts off some of this border and it brings up, you lose a little bit of the bottom of this case. So you could still print on the regular cardstock if you can't afford these longer A4 papers. But if you have Copic markers or Copic chows, this is a really, really good paper. It's thick and toothy, really. It's a lot thicker, so it's different. Okay, this one is available, and I do use it for special pictures that, for some artists that only have A4 pictures. Next, I have this I love. This is my second one I've replaced. This is my Shuttle Art Markers Marker Pad, 50 sheets, and they're 8 by 10. So Shuttle Art are very, very well-known markers. They're budget-friendly. You get giant packs or medium packs for very affordably, but they make their own marker pad. Premium quality paper. It doesn't bleed. It's bright white, kind of like my Express marker pad. In fact, if you can't get this Express blending card, this would be a good alternative, but keep in mind it's smaller. It's 8.5 by 10. It's 8 by 10. So your pictures are going to be a little smaller. You'll have to print, you'll have to, on your JPEG or PDF printing, you'll have to select 8.5 by 8 by 10 paper size and then do shrink to fit. So it's going to be like, it would be like this picture without the frame would be, you know, it would be like that. There'd be no white part or something like that. So, but yeah, this is a really good one if you can print different sizes on your printer. This is my brand new pack. I finished off my other pack, so I just got this in the mail. And lastly, another one I use quite often is my Strathmore mixed media paper, 15 sheets. This is 9 by 12, so it's bigger than the 8.5 by 11, which is A4. And this is great. It's mixed media, so it's dry surface and wet surface. So if you want to do water-based mediums or water-based pens or water-based pencils with a water brush, or if you use a lot of water-based markers, this will be good. You can also do water-based markers and alcohol markers on the same paper. You can use just dry. So this is a little bit of everything. However, it does tear out, and it's nice and white, kind of just like my cardstock. More of that milky white and a little thicker. It has tooth. It's really thick. Look at this. So it's very, I just popped that out. Well, there you go. It's very thick. However, and so it's great for pencils if you want a lot of tooth. However, you have to cut it down if you're going to be putting this in your printer. So I have a paper cutter, 2 different paper cutters that I use. You put your paper cutter on a table and line it up to where you want it to say 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 11 or whatever. You cut it down on each side. It just razor cuts it, so it'll be perfect for your printer. I'll see if I can find the links to the paper cutters I use. They're very inexpensive, and I'll put them on here. So what I do is when I get a new pad, I just take them all out and spend, you know, half an hour, and I just cut them all down to the right size and keep them like in a Ziploc or something. This is a new pad, but so I don't have to like, oh, I want to go use the paper. Now I got to go find my paper cutter. And then that would defer me from using it. So I would get all these done and ready ahead of time, put them in a folder. So you're good to go. So those are my papers that I use that you see in all my Etsy printables. Those are all my recommendations. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like or a thumbs up or emoji, or tell me something in the comments. It helps me be seen by others in my videos. I have a brand new Easter book I just got in the mail today that I didn't get to include in my all new Easter spring coloring book hauls I did this past week. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll link those below. If you have, this one was not included because it was delayed for some reason. So I'm going to make a separate video about that next, so keep an eye out. Thanks again. I'll see you in another video.